Hello, peoples of the internet. Today I was thinking of sharing some information about a healing that came in maybe 4 weeks ago. And this is a foot healing. And feet have been coming up quite a lot in the last couple of years because the God Source has been talking about grounding us to our feet, as in the inside of our feet, and grounding us to our own feet. So getting regulation from your own feet first, and then sharing your regulated energy with the world around us. And I'm trying to recall what the first healing was that came in around the feet. And we've been opening up the portals of our feet more and more to let out more and more energy, and to let in more and more energy. And there was a healing last year that we did that was regulating the energies of the feet and releasing any traumas of the feet from the past. And any of the traumas of the feet had to do with connecting into this universe. And some of those traumas of the feet had to do with like fears of fully connecting to the universe. So fears of standing upon the earth, and of, like, I remember there was wounds around not feeling worthy of standing upon the earth, and sort of human hate, human disgust, and planet hate, planet disgust, and universe hate, universe disgust. That was all connected into the feet as well. And it was a clearing of those wounds. I remember there was some guilt and shame in that healing as well, around like stepping on living beings as a human being. Like when we walk, we step on grass and plants and flowers, but sometimes we also step on things like ants and things like that. And there was a forgiveness in that space of, like, forgive us for where we walk. We sometimes destroy things with our steps, and that we're not doing it purposely. It's just a natural part of a human experience, and it's a natural part of being human. So it's like, forgive the human being for these natural sort of trauma spaces of being alive and being human and done to this universe. And so that was one of the feed healings that was coming in last year. And another one was feeling as if we connect to the earth with the feet. And we do connect with the earth through the feet. We exchange sort of ionic information with the earth plane herself. But last year, there was a piece of information that was also coming in around the root chakra, and how the root chakra's purpose is actually to root down into the soul star, or into the earth star, which the God Source called the universal star, and to root those frequencies of the root chakra down through the hips, the legs, the feet, and down through the earth star, which is 2 feet below your feet, and into this universe. And it was a clearing. We had to really pull the energies down into the body and then clear the feet so that we could access the feet in this way. And I remember when I first accessed that, when I really rooted into this universe and into the multiverses, which the God Source said is the feminine, it's the feminine way of rooting. And that's why it's been forgotten. The masculine way of rooting is rooting up and through the soul star, and the feminine way of rooting is rooting down through the feet and down through the earth star. And those Earth Star and the Soul Star are the furthest 2 points of our chakra systems and of our sort of egg shape, our auric space of which a human exists within. So, and you'll remember if you watch the earlier videos that everything starts at the center of self, at your heart center, and it expands up and out. And that's the natural way of connecting to this universe. So above and below. Okay, so the foot healing that's coming up this year just recently came up a couple weeks ago, and for me, I've been having a lot of foot pain, right foot pain, for months and months and months, like since January. And I had tried buying shoes, better shoes, so that I wasn't having the foot pain, and it did help to a certain degree, but it didn't get rid of the foot pain. And so I was laying on my bed one day. I have this little desk on my bed that has, it's a computer desk. So it's got corners, like 4 corners. And I was pushing my foot against one of those corners. And I remembered, oh, I can just put some pressure on that pain space. And that's really important too, because the God Source had taught me last year or the year before about healing ourselves by putting pressure on pain spaces. So if you have a sore back or sore shoulder, sore neck, even wrists or feet, any part of the body, hands, that you're having a sore pain space, it was showing me the key is to push on the pain space. So to put some pressure on the pain space and to breathe light and relaxation into the wound. And as you breathe light and relaxation into the pain space, not into an open cut, obviously, but into like a nerve or anything like that, a muscle pain. And as you breathe light into that space and just relax your body, you have to really purposely work on relaxing the body. And for me, when I'm pushing on it, I'm like paying attention to my body and noticing where is my body still tight, and then allowing my body, my breath, to relax those parts of my body, and until I can't feel the pain. And oftentimes for me, I know that I'm getting to a point of a clearing because I'll begin to yawn. And oftentimes for me too, I'll have little baby yawns, like half yawns, like so I wait until I have the big yawn, and then usually at that point I can tell that the energy has moved. And oftentimes when I'm putting the pressure and breathing light or harmonic frequency or love into the wound spaces, I can either see colors, sometimes I see shapes, and sometimes I get full downloads or visions of pain spaces or information, knowledge, or wisdom that I need for healings. And usually when I get that, I know that I've shifted the thing. And so that was a technique that I was remembering is a potential or something that I could utilize. And I decided to do that with my foot. And when I pushed on this certain part of my foot, midfoot is what it kind of felt like, the first thing I felt was major sadness in the heart center and in the chest and in the lungs. And when I was holding that space of sadness and I was like, oh, what is this? It showed me original mankind, as in humans, all humans. So it was showing me the original humans. And it was showing me a human taking a step forward, a step back, a step forward, a step back. And that process I call flashing. And so it's like, should I not? Should I not? Like this. And that human was stuck in a zone of of not knowing whether they should take a step. And it was all of the sadness that the humans have felt through time and space, like since the origins of humans, where we didn't take the step, where we didn't move forward, where we stagnated and we didn't have the courage to move forward and to take that step. And so as I was holding that space, that sadness, that grief of not taking the step forward, the God source then showed me a human taking a step forward, and it was showing me a version of a human that stepped on like a really sharp piece of a rock and cut their foot. And then it also showed me a version of a human stepping on like magma, and it also showed me a version of a human like twisting their ankle. And they were saying, and the God source said, Lisa, it wasn't like Mother Earth's fault that they got hurt. Like Mother Earth wasn't doing this to them. The God source said, these steps are part of having a journey. So when people take steps, these steps can happen when a person's on a journey, and it just means the person's walking. It just means they're on a journey, and it's natural. These things are natural and normal parts of journeys, and it's okay if they happen. And it was showing me that those steps are equal to the steps where those things don't happen. They're all parts of a journey. They all have a right to exist. And that the key when we do one of those things is to slow down, obviously tend to the wound, love ourselves in that place, and then continue to journey. So once we tend to it, we slow down, we tend to it, continue to journey, keep going, keep walking. And so then I could see, the next thing I was shown was a man who was a berry picker. And then it was also showing me another lifetime of a man that was a warrior. And what it said to me is that they both have a right to exist. They equally have a right to exist. That whether you're a berry picker or whether you're a warrior, you have a right to exist. You have a right to be seen. You have a right to be validated. You have a right to do that journey, that role. Whatever role you have a right to it in this journey. And that all the beings, all the humans attached to the feet have a right to be exactly who they are, how they are, and they have a right to be loved and seen and validated. They have a right to fully exist. And basically the God source was saying, like, it's a permission we give ourselves. You have to give yourself the permission to journey. And it said it doesn't matter if you're young or old. It doesn't matter if you're male or female. It doesn't matter what gender you are. You have a right to exist. You have a right to journey. You have a right to being seen, validated, loved, and you don't have to wait for someone else to give you the permission. You need to give it to yourself. You need to say it inside yourself. I have a right to journey. I have a right to be here. I have a right to my roles. I have a right to take my steps forward. And it's my permission I was looking for. It's my love I was looking for. And then when we give that to ourselves, we no longer stagnate in the steps, flashing, not knowing, should I not, should I not? And we take those steps forward. And the whole point of being alive and being a human being is going on journeys. The whole point is to journey. We're here to journey. We're here to fully experience the human being that we're inside of. And we're meant to go on the journey. And what matters is that you're journeying. What matters is that you're walking. Like walk, go, do it. Give yourself the permission to do the thing. So when I was pushing on the foot, I also saw monkeys. So I saw before First Man, and I saw these monkeys, and it was showing me that they too have a right to their journeys. They have a right to be seen and validated and acknowledged and loved. They have a right to their own journeys. They have a right to take their own steps. They have a right to be their own unique self on their own journey in their own step. It's also like they were showing me that we have a right for the monkeys to be part of our journey. So we have a shared journey, and the monkeys are a part of our journey at one point, and it's almost like the humans are making peace with the fact that part of our journey has been monkeys, and that we have a right to that, that it's part of existing and it's part of a journey, and sometimes those things happen as part of a journey, and so we're making peace with that. And then I was shown, so then I pushed on a different part of the foot, and I saw hoofs. I saw hoofs. I saw hoofed beings, like as in like half deer, half humans. And so elemental beings. And then I also saw like deers, and I also saw like horses and things like that. Again, they have a right to their journey. They have a right to their steps. They have a right to their uniquenesses. Like they're here in their own self for their own self. They're not here for everybody else. They're here for themselves, and they have a right to their journey. They have a right to take their steps. They have a right to support themselves to take their steps on their journeys. And it was kind of imparting in that message too, that like, watch how the deer moves, watch how the horse moves, and they like gallop, like tick, 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 they like dance almost. And it was showing me how a lot of humans, me including, take these really hard steps in this life. Like we step hard. It was showing me like the heel, and it was showing me how it would show me a human without a foot, and how they were walking on that leg without the foot, and how painful the steps were. And it was showing me that even like that person too has a right to their journey. They have a right to their steps. They have a right to love themselves into wholeness. They have a right to their own uniqueness, that they can go on their journeys and give themselves permissions to go on their journeys, even though it's a painful journey, because those steps themselves were painful steps to take. And the God source was saying, like, it doesn't have to be so painful, is basically what it was imparting. Is it said we can be lighter on our feet, we can dance as part of the journey, like we can move like the deers do, we can have more fun, it can be more lighthearted, it doesn't have to be so serious, it doesn't have to be so pressure, like pushing the boom boom in your steps, right? And when I was holding that space, I feel like a lot of sensitives and vulnerables tend to have these heavy steps, because it's almost like we're trying to ground ourselves in our steps. But it's like when you step so hard, those frequencies or those vibrations can like hurt the body. They hurt the bones and the body. And it's like we don't have to be so serious. We can lighten up, literally lighten our steps, and give ourselves the permissions to not be so serious and not take such heavy steps, to have a lighter journey. And then I pushed on another part of the foot, and I could see dragon's feet. I could see lizards and dragons, and again, sort of a lot of elemental beings, and that the lizards have a right to their journey, and that the dragons have a right to their journey. They have a right to being their unique selves. They have a right to their own unique journeys. They have a right to step on their own pathways in their own ways. So what I could see is they were, and then the third spot I pushed was showing me clouds. So it was like walking on clouds, which I sort of think of the bird species as part of that. But also when you do journeys, when you're in the cloud realm, you're in the spirit realm. So that's where you go to speak to helpers and like angels, ancestors, other beings of light. So to me, it was like almost like a permission that we can walk our journey like in a spiritual way. We have a right to our own spiritual way of connecting to ourselves and connecting to this universe and being spiritual on the journey. And I get that that's connected to, like, in our day and age, in the slavery matrix, it's actually, looked down upon, it's poo-pooed. I mean, religion's high, but self-spirituality is not. And I do think it's part of the control, and it's part of, like, making us forget who we truly are, and that we're all connected to the God source. We're all important to the lessons and the experiences of this universe, that we all have a right to fully experience this existence in our own uniquenesses. And I think that's what it was imparting in the feet. And that, we have a right to take our steps forward. We have a right to supporting our own self and our own steps forward. And so let me see. Am I missing anything about that healing? I'll mention too that, like, in this time period, the big lessons in this time period are we going to take the steps that we need to take to do the journey that we came here to do? And so I think I can share this one without doing a separate video. So I'm going to try to put this in here as well. But this part is about the unknown. So it's where we go into spaces that are of the unknown. Like, I don't know, like, what if this happens? What if that happens? So a lot of us humans, especially us sensitives, tend to go into catastrophizing when we're about to make a choice in the unknown. And with the God source is actually collapsing the catastrophizing, so that we're actually consciously choosing to go on the journey ourselves. So consciously choosing to take those steps forward, consciously choosing to make choices that we haven't made before. And that's a big part of this time period. The God source had showed me a while ago, I had this crick in the neck, like on this left side of my neck, and I literally could barely turn my head to the left. And I was like, oh man, like, what's happening? And the God source says, there's something over there you don't want to see. And I was like, oh, like, what is it? And it was like, choices. There's choices over there that you don't want to see. And I was like, oh, well, like, why wouldn't I want to see those choices? And the God source said, because those are choices where either you think that someone else is going to get hurt, or you're going to get hurt, or you're incapable or incompetent of it. Or, like, so for example, there might be a choice over here. Like, if, like, I need to move, and if I move, the people, my family are going to be upset because I'm not going to be near them anymore. Or maybe you own a business, and that choice over here that keeps coming up for you is like, I need to sell this business. I can't keep doing this business. I want to do something else. I know I put all this time and energy and money into it, but it's not right for me anymore. So it's choices where we think someone else is going to be impacted by the choice that we're making. And we're actually going to be asked to make those choices in this time period. And you're going to know that you're being faced with one of these choices if it's something that's been going round and around and around inside of you for an extended time. So you're going to remember I said the corkscrew is a natural part of this existence and reality. So if you were supposed to make the choice up here and you didn't, it's going to go around, and it's going to come back, and it's going to come back, and it's going to come back. It'll keep coming back around until you make that choice. And some of these choices over here are the ones that are actually going to lead us to where we've always wanted to get. So on the other side of these choices is more choices, right? But we don't get more choices until we make the first choice. And we're just like, complaining like, oh man, I'm in this pile of shit. I hate this pile of shit. But we're not willing to make a choice to get out of the shit, because it's like, oh, it's too hard, or I don't know how to, or what if I can't? A lot of the catastrophizing, it's the unknown. So when we face these spaces of the unknown, it's natural for us to catastrophize, but also what happens is a self-fulfilling prophecy for failure, and imposter syndrome comes up where you're like, I can't do it. I don't know. You're like, you don't think, oh, I did it in the past 10 other times. You're like, oh, something did it in the past. It was me. That was just luck or whatever. But what we don't do is we don't own it and then say, yeah, I have done this. I can do it again. Or, you know what? I have a right to my journey. I have a right to my steps. I don't have to wait for anybody to give me the permission. I just need to give myself the permission. And yeah, this looks like a difficult choice, but I can make it. I believe in myself. I have a right to make this choice. I have a right to see what's on the other side of this choice. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to consciously choose to make these choices that we haven't made up until now, that are actually our pathways out of where we've been stuck and into these sort of what I call the golden realms, or like the higher timelines of like where you've been trying to get. So that's what we're actually being faced with in this time period, is us slowing down enough to face that the catastrophizing and the unknown. So when we're in an unknown space where you don't know what's in front of that choice, you're also going to feel overwhelm and overstimulation. And that feeling of overwhelm, like, I don't know if I can, I don't know what's up there, that's the part we need to face directly. That's a power program actually that we have inside of us. And we want to take back our power from that program. And we want to say, wait, I'm safe even when I'm feeling overwhelmed and overstimulated. I'm safe even when there's an unknown, even when I don't know what's up there. I'm safe even when I'm trying, like, catastrophizing. I'm safe even when imposter syndrome arises. I'm safe in all of these spaces, and I can take back my power from all of these spaces so that I can recognize those experiences for what they are and then collapse them and then move forward freely based off of what I consciously choose to do in that moment. And that's when you'll begin to support yourself and get behind yourself and encourage yourself to make these choices that are coming up in this time period for us to make. So the foot healing is freeing our feet. It's literally a lot of foot pain and foot damage comes from not taking the step forward. So a lot of us actually have, like in this lifetime, but also multi-generational pain spaces or issues with certain parts of our body, like our feet or our knees or our hips. And a lot of those are actually connected to us not taking the steps forward or not supporting ourselves to take the steps forward. If our ancestors did it, then it's going to be multi-generational, and then you're just going to think, oh no, my family system has feet problems. No, your family system doesn't just have feet problems. Your family system actually has an inability to move forward freely. They have an inability to support themselves to take the steps on their own unique journey that their souls are asking them to do. And that's what actually, when we start to make those choices and prioritize our own right to journey and prioritize our own right to a unique journey and our own right to love ourselves in our journey and to love our roles that we play and to give ourselves the permission to play the roles, and that all roles are equal. And that's what the God Source was saying. All roles are equal here. All steps are equal here. All journeys are equal here. They're all just experiences, and we all have a right to the experiences of our own journeys in this own unique body. And so those are the healings that are coming up in this time period. So I am going to clear those wounds and those pain spaces from our mind, body, spirits, and souls, so that, number one, we can begin to heal our feet. And number two, we can make peace with our journeys and give ourselves the permissions to journey, and to stop like holding ourselves back because we think other people want us to, or we're not being encouraged to take the steps we really want to take, or other people don't understand why we want to take those steps. But it's only us that can free ourselves in these ways. So here we go. I'm going to clear all that. So, Source God Mother, I acknowledge and accept everything that we're speaking of so far today. I acknowledge and accept that we are clearing all of these foot wounds of the past, starting with the portals on our feet, which we are extending, we're expanding. So we used to only take little bits of energy or share little bits of energy with this universe. And we're starting to do large quantities of energy. And it's because we're actually accessing more light in this time period. There's more light and more expansion. And so we're opening up those portals of our feet so that we can really root ourselves into our own, not down into the Mother Earth. That's, it's grapey, but into our own universal star, and from our universal star into this universe. And we do that from the root chakra. That's why it's called the root chakra. It's the chakra for rooting in. And I'll do another video on the chakras, and particularly the root chakra, in the healings that have been coming up for our lower chakras, so that we can access this ability to root down into our universal star and into the universe and the multiverses, so that we can exchange life force frequency, healing codes, knowledge, and wisdom with our natural kingdom, with the natural kingdom, our family, which is the natural kingdom. We are a part of it. And that's part of what this healing is speaking about. We're talking about healing our wounds of the past. We're talking about healing the humans and the human species. Oh, there's a dog in the room. We have a big dog in the room at this point. And we are, sorry, I had a distraction there. Source Godmother, we are healing thank you, Willow. Willow is in the room. She's a very large dog, but she does love holding space. So she came in to hold right when I'm talking about the root chakra and talking about us rooting into the into this universe and into the multiverses. So we are clearing the old programs that were preventing us from fully and completely rooting our body, our form selves into the universe, which is also of the form realm. It's the feminine way of rooting, and it's a grounding system into this universe, and it's doing it in a mature way of sharing energy. And we also recognize that there's these other foot healings that are coming up in this time period of all of the times that we didn't take the steps in this lifetime and in all lifetimes. So this is also our multi-generational wound spaces, or our ancestors who did that sort of flashing back and forth, that they were waiting for someone to give them the permission to take their journeys. They were waiting for someone to give them the permission to take their steps forward. And they don't need anyone's permission. They needed their own. And we forgive that we thought that over time, and we forgive that we stagnated ourselves. And we also forgive that part of the reason we didn't take those steps forward is because we didn't believe in ourselves. So we didn't think we were worthy. We didn't think that we were capable and competent. We didn't think that we had the creativity or the will to do it. And in reality, yeah, heck yeah, we do. And we're remembering that. And we take back our right to our own unique journeys, to taking our steps forward. Even we also heal the foot. So these are foot healings. Also, you would have heard me talk about twisting the ankle. So these are ankle healings, knee healings, hip healings, spine healings, cranium healings, arm healing, shoulder and arms. So the skeletal system basically is healing from the bottom up. And yes, I want to heal my feet. I want to heal my nerves, the ligaments, tissue, bone, the ankles. I want to heal it all. And I recognize anytime we cut our foot, we stepped on something and it prevented us from journeying, we clear those programs, those old modes of functioning and those old ways of existing. We also give ourselves the right to, basically all beings that are attached to feet have a right to exist in their uniqueness, is how the God Source was saying it. And we give ourselves a right to our uniquenesses in all of our unique selves, and our right to our own journeys and our own choices and our follow through and our healings. And we clear those old programs, including all the times that we didn't journey. And we do the same for the horse kingdom, for the hoofed kingdom. We do the same for the reptilian kingdoms. We do the same for the bird kingdoms. And I mean, let's do the same for the fish kingdoms, the insect kingdoms. Like, we all have a right to be alive. We all have a right to be who we are. We all have a right to our own journeys. We all have a right to be here and to fully experience this existence through this own unique self. And it's our permissions that we need. And we choose to give ourselves the permission as we move forward. And we heal all of those old wounds, including walking heavy or like taking it too seriously and causing that reverberation throughout the body that, it was like, I think it was a way to ground ourselves, but like we can be grounded into our feet and still dance, we can still prance, and why not? Yeah, hex, yeah, I want to dance and prance. And we clear also that space between the monkey and the human, and that's a natural part of a journey as well. Like it's called evolution, right? And we evolve, and it's okay that we were all the living beings on our pathways of existing, and they all have a right to exist, and they all have a right to that wholeness. And we clear the shame and guilt of having human feet, of not using our human feet, of not healing our human feet, of stepping on living beings as a human being. It's part of a journey, it's part of being a human, and it's all part of this universe. And we can clear all of that through all quantum fields of existence. We also clear the fear programs to the unknown. It's something that, like, we've been taught to fear that space, but in reality, it's the infinite potential. And when you realize, oh, this just means it's something new, it's something novel, it means I've not done it before, and I have a right to do this too, and I have a right to journey, and I can support myself even here, and I have a right to these choices, and I have a right to believing in myself. And I, myself, when I've been challenging these spaces recently and taking the steps forward anyway. So one of my spaces was starting a YouTube channel. I've been, the God Source has been trying to encourage me to get the information out somehow in the last 5 years, but I've been scared of taking that step forward. I was flashing. And I was waiting for someone else to give me the permission, or someone else to come save me and, pull me there, or whatever else. And when this fear started coming up recently, I just said, you know what, that's a game and I'm not playing it. I'm stepping right over that. I have a right to my journey. I have a right to my steps. I have a right to fully experiencing this existence. And if I can't know if this is what I want until I do the thing. So when I start to do this, then I'll start to feel like, do I like this? Is this what I want? Do I want to keep doing this? Is this working for me? I can't know until I take the step. So that's the thing about humans. We take one step at a time. We literally have 2 feet and we take one step at a time. And so we need to take one step in order to have completion. And then after we complete that step, more choices open up. And then we take another step, and then more choices open up, and we get to discern for ourselves after we take the step and have that experience, that firsthand experience. Do I still want to do this? Do I want to keep still moving forward, or do I need to pivot and go a different direction? But we can't know until we take the step. And this time period, in the past, we would try to get 10 steps ahead and try to plan 10 steps ahead, and then maybe then I'll do it. But if I don't have the plan way up there, then I'm not doing it. That's an old way of existing in presence. And when the more present we become to ourselves and to our experience, it's one step at a time. We have to take one step. There's no point in even thinking about what's 10 steps ahead, because you might have pivoted 13 times by then and are nowhere near that thing by the time you get up there. You're better off just taking the one step and then saying, okay, now that I took the step, what's my next step? It's not as scary as we think it is. We think we have to do 20 steps, 10 steps ahead. No, you don't. No, you don't. One step at a time. Make your choice as you take those steps. Support yourself in each of those steps. Love yourself in each of those steps. It's not as much as I think, but in no time I'm making the whole journey. You know, I'm going on all kinds of magical journeys because I'm saying I can take this step too. I don't have to let the experience of overwhelm and overstimulation collapse me. I don't have to catastrophize. Oh my God, what if this? Oh my God, what if that? Oh, I have to plan. No, I don't have to do that doesn't bring you safety. That brings you burnout. What brings you safety is loving yourself right now in this moment and in this step and in this body that's attached to these feet, and giving myself the permission to take those steps forward and to do that journey, because I'm here to journey and I have a right to that journey. And I collapse those old programs, those power programs where I was giving my power to the overwhelm. I was giving my power to the overstimulation. I was giving my power to the unknown. I was giving my power to catastrophizing. I was giving my power to the imposter syndrome. And I collapse all of that back to dust so that I'm retaining my power in myself and then utilizing my power to support my own self and to look at all my creative options and to decipher what it is that I want to do from the core of my own soul that tells me, is that going to bring me joy? Is that going to bring my soul joy? And if it's going to bring your soul joy, it's not just going to bring your soul joy, it's going to bring universal joy. It's going to, if it's in alignment with joy of your soul, I guarantee you it's in alignment with the universe. So it's going to bring the plants, animals, air, earth, water, joy. If it's in alignment with your soul, it's going to be in alignment with all, because the God source only guides us to do what's in alignment with all, because it is all. So that's why we want to listen to our own internal self, our own center of self. And I'll do a video about that as well. So, but in the meanwhile, God, please clear, cleanse, neutralize, harmonize, and alchemize these old programs, these old patterns, these old pain spaces, contracts, binds, barriers, anchors, modes of functioning, ways of existing, internal dynamics, external dynamics, trigger points. I neutralize, harmonize, and alchemize them all back to dust, past the DNA and RNA and into the God space of first creation, disintegrating the old DNA and RNA back to dust and initiating the new, and reconfiguring for each unique blueprint. Clearing, cleansing, and healing all drama, karma, trauma, pulling out the dharma, neutralizing, purifying, clearing, cleansing, and healing from the cellular, energetic, and magnetic structures, and from the subconscious, unconscious, and conscious minds, pulling all of that through to oneness, to wholeness, to peace, to truth, to love. Welcoming those helper frequencies and helper beings into these spaces to help me to stretch out this far and to utilize these spaces as I move forward in those good ways. Releasing through the children and up through the ancestral webs, past lifetimes in their webs, and for the collective universal who are open to it at this time, including all planetary systems and on all sides of the veil, including this universe and the multiverses. I quantum forgive that I didn't know how to heal myself before, that I didn't know that I could push pressure on these wound spaces and then breathe light into them and allow them to move themselves, that I didn't realize that information can come into my mind, body, spirit, and soul about healings that I need, information that I need in order to heal my body in that way. But I'm recognizing that that's something that we can do. I forgive that I didn't take the steps forward, that I didn't even know there were steps, that I wasn't turning all the way to the right to see the steps that I need to be able to take to be able to exit, the stagnation and begin to create that life that I've always dreamed of. I am the only one who knows how to get there, and I can only know by aligning with my own joy, with my own soul, and asking, what is it that you want me to do? And again, I'll repeat the things that are repeating that you're saying, I can't do that. That's crazy. That'll never work. Those are probably the choices we have to make in this time period. And so after we make that first bit of the step and do the completion, then we will be guided to the next steps and the next steps. And usually when we just do that first step, it gets clearer. what I want next. Do I still like this? Do I want this? And we give ourselves that right to really contemplate those choice spaces, and that we forgive ourselves for judging our own selves, for not believing in ourselves, for not accessing our right to take our own steps forward, giving ourselves that internal permission. We forgive it, we forgive it, we forgive it some more, and we purify, purify, purify back to the God Source origins. We welcome those beings of light, those healed helpers, those doctors, healers, and nurses in all realms of existence, to continue to purify and alchemize these spaces and drop us into those original blueprints, those original codes, and to continue these healings until completed. We give so much gratitude and so much thankfulness to those helper beings and helper frequencies that are here with us, helping us, guiding us. Willow, she's stretching right out. She's liking the release. Really channeling some of that dogger energy from the universe. Thank you, nature. We appreciate you. But helper beings, including the dog species, they're here helping us, guiding us as well. But thank you, thank you, thank you to the helper beings, the beings of light, the healed helpers, the ancestors, angels, and elementals that are here with us, helping us, guiding us, holding loving space for us, nudging us, helping us to remember these are the ancient ways of existing, helping us to remember what freedom truly is and how to enter freedom and how to make steps from freedom and how to not buy into the game and to be like, this is a game and I'm not playing it. That's a healing I'll also come back to into the future, but that is a code. And if you use that code, it works like a hot damn. If somebody's trying to fight with you or engage you in some kind of way you don't want to, you can just say, this is a game and I'm not playing it. And then step away. Breathe, relax yourself, give yourself love and safety, and alchemize so that you can hear your own truth. And then you can ask yourself, what step do I need to make? And then supporting yourself to make that step. That might be saying no, that might be walking away, that might be going home for now. Might be going over to hang out with a friend. It might be taking a job. It might be quitting a job. It might be going into a relationship. It might be exiting a relationship. It might be getting a dog. It might be letting go of a dog. Who knows? There's a million choices for the human beings, but we have to align with our own and give ourselves the permissions to love ourselves enough to look at all of our choices, and then to love ourselves enough to discern what's going to bring me the most joy. My soul, not my head. My head's, gets joy from toxic distractions, and we're not doing that here. We're going down to the soul space. What is truly going to bring my heart joy? What is the thing that I've never done that I've always wanted to do? What journey have I always wanted to take that I haven't taken yet? And then giving ourselves the permissions to take the first step to see how that feels. And so we clear, cleanse, and heal all of that now through all quantum fields. And we're opening to receive for best and highest well-being. With love and gratitude, I choose this. So I choose this and breathe. And a really good big etheric breath. So breathing in from the ethers. Yeah, that feels good. And I'm just going to do some energy cleansing here. I'm going to tie it up with an energy clearing. So Source God Mother, please immediately evolute our systems for best and highest well-being of the systems within us and the systems around us. And as you do this for us, do it for everybody within our sacred bubble, within our purification bubble space, or as far out as I can love, our heart space. Please immediately evolute all of our systems for best and highest well-being of the systems within us and the systems around us, including those frequencies of our feet. Update those frequencies of our feet so that as we ground down to the insides of our feet, we have all of the regulation and the comfort and the love and the ideas and the memories that we need to make good choices as we walk forward. Please also root us down through our root chakra, down through our hips, our legs, down through our feet, and down to that 2 foot right below our feet into that earth star. If you want to know what I'm talking about, look it up on the internet. You'll be able to find the chakra system and the earth star, which I also call the universal star. So Source God Mother, please root us into our universal star so that we're rooting into this universe and into the multiverses so that we're exchanging life force frequency, information, knowledge, wisdom, and healing codes, and fractalize those healings throughout our mind, body, spirits, and souls. And we clear, cleanse, and heal all of that now through all quantum fields we're opening to receive for best and highest well-being. With love and gratitude, I choose this. So again, I choose this and breathe. And Source God Mother, please trigger our vagus nerve now. So just ask them. Ooh, that feels good. Why not? A little extra comfort. So pay attention. How do these healings feel? What do you think about them? Have you been noticing foot pain, particularly right foot pain? Have you been noticing the unknown spaces and kind of going back and forth and being like, oh my God, should I not? Should I not? Or have you been feeling a feeling of stagnation? Those are all things to notice that are coming up in this time period for us to love ourselves into wholeness and to make those new choices. So practice, practice, practice. That's how we break old patterns, and that's how we begin to come fully and completely into ourselves. I hope you all slow down to find the peace that you deserve and that you're looking for. And happy healings to all. And I will see you all next time. And if you want to leave me a comment below, please feel free to. And outside of that, lots of love from me to you. Take care.